Right, welcome to the channel. So it would appear that Upgrade is getting a TV series follow-up, which I don't think anyone was expecting. This is very, very big news, not just because of course it was quite a well-liked property, right? People watched it, they really liked it, so it's not just news because of that, but it's also the fact that this is potentially indicative of what's happening with coronavirus and basically its long-term effect on the industry, or how movies are going to be structured, maybe altered and changed. Do you see what I mean? That's kind of the angle I'm taking this. This is great news anyway. Like, this is, I don't think anyone can say this is bad news. Why would you say this is bad news? But I think it's interesting that this could be where the industry is going, because we know that they've got to downsize. We know it. And if you make a relatively low budget, because that was tiny budget movie that does very, very well, rather than hedging your bets on upping the ante for a sequel, make a TV show, sell it. Now, I'm not saying that is the way the industry is going, but I do just think it's very interesting. So anyway, Upgrade TV series sequel to Leigh Whannell's sci-fi movie is in the works at Blumhouse and UCP, and the writer's room is set. Now, this is on deadline, so I'll leave a link to the article down below. It's brand new news. It's a couple of hours old, really. Well, I say a couple of hours, but you know what I mean. So let's get into it. Before we do, just to let you know, I do have a Patreon. If you want to check it out, it's down below in the description box. And then there's merch and all that good stuff as well. But let's dive into it. Exclusive, we've got a Leigh Whannell's 2018 Blumhouse sci-fi thriller feature Upgrade is getting a TV series follow-up. Now, the really important things to take a look at is the series is going to be co-created, or is co-created, because obviously it sounds like they've pitched it, hence why it's been greenlit. The series is co-created and executive produced by Whannell and Tim Walsh, Treadstone, who serves as showrunner. So Whannell is coming off writing and directing Blumhouse's The Invisible Man. It's interesting that we call it Blumhouse, because surely it was Universal, because it was made for Universal, right? But I guess Blumhouse produced it. Anyway, just tip of information, I guess. Now, Blumhouse Television and UCP are collaborating on the adaptation, which has opened a writer's room. Now, Blumhouse Television have done some odd things. They did like an Indian... Now, I could be completely wrong. I don't know if it was Indian, but I swear they did like some Indian horror movie series thing for Netflix. And I watched this like a year and a half ago now, so forgive me if I'm mistaken for what it is, but I'm fairly certain it was that. And the quality was fine, because you got to remember, like, how much of it are they doing and how much are they giving to just the creatives to do. And Blumhouse are quite good with that. They don't tend to kind of get too involved, not from what I know anyway. Especially with Leigh Whannell, for instance. Leigh Whannell has essentially went to them for, Upgrade, and was like, "Yeah, here we go. Let's do this," and then collaborated and moved forward like that. But a lot of it's like exchanging of money, and then we minimise the risk and let the creative do the work, that sort of thing. So it's the fact that it's Blumhouse Television, I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because Blumhouse, in terms of movies, have been going increasingly downhill. But again, like I say, it's dependent on actually who they have involved as the creative. And Blumhouse is very distinct, right? They have like two very distinct sections of what they do. They have like indie properties, like Upgrade, massively indie, creative-based property. And then you have the likes of, Fantasy Island and Black Christmas, right? One inevitably meant for more commercial success, like Fantasy Island and things like that, is supposed to be at least it's supposed to have like a Hollywood sheen over it to some degree. And then you have Leigh Whannell's Upgrade, where he's using iPhones to, calibrate all of the movements and the camera following and things like that. That is the creative force that Blumhouse allows in some movies, and then you have the Hollywood sheen being the Fantasy Island crap. So Blumhouse, not terrible, but they definitely do have two distinctive channels that they like to run down. And in regards to this, Blumhouse Television is much the same. Like, it's middling to good. So I don't think this is bad. I think this is like pretty good. Like, I'm confident with this, especially because Leigh Whannell's back on board. But it would be intriguing. Like, are we going to get the same actor? Who knows? Well, we'll find out, I guess. Upgrade, the series, picks up a few years after the events of the film and broadens the universe with an evolved version of STEM and a new host. Again, trying to get the actor back, very difficult for commitments of sort of that degree. I mean, you know, Tom Hardy Light here typically doesn't really get like a great deal of work, but he does like to diversify his portfolio, and he's a good actor as well. So it would, I mean, it's a shame that they obviously can't get him back, but they may not have tried either. They may have wanted and purposely sought out new people. Now, imagining a world in which the government repurposes STEM to help curb criminal activity. Interesting. Some kind of polar opposite, some sort of like a, opposing commentary on what we're going through in everyday life now. Maybe you could have some great fun with that, actually. Especially the moral compass of all of that. You know, are you going to put STEM in criminals and have them be controlled? Are you going to allow it to be in police to then control the criminals? How far do you go until it becomes fascism? You know, corruption, all these kind of things. I think that actually is very positive. I think you can do some very interesting commentary on that. Obviously, it's dependent on what they choose to do. But on face value, that sounds good. In the writer's room, which is breaking stories and writing scripts for Upgrade's first season, Whannell and Walsh are joined by writer-producer Crystal Ziv Houghton and James Rowland, who ran the second season of Blumhouse's TV's USA network horror series The Purge, also an offshoot from a Blumhouse movie title. Now, I've not seen The Purge TV series, so you guys would have to let me know down below in the comments if that is something which now bodes well for this. Personally, for me, I never really got into the Purge movies. They just weren't for me. And it's not to say that I think that they're crap. They just never piqued my interest. So the series, again, is not one of those things which piqued my interest. This, however, does. I think there's a lot you could do with this, but it's dependent on whether they squander it or not. Now, Jason Blum and Brian Cavanagh-Jones of Automatic, Gretel and Hansel. Does anyone else get really weird OCD when they read that? Because it's back to front. You know? Gretel and Hansel. Ugh, great. Like nails down on a chalkboard. Honey Boy. So they're executive producing Upgrade alongside Whannell and Walsh, and the series is a co-production between Blumhouse Television and NBC Universal Division TV, basically. So UCP. Which is very good, I think. That's really good. And apparently it's all part of Blumhouse's 10-year deal with Universal, because we know that they had it, because Blumhouse has, a kind of a look-in deal with respect to movies and things like that as well. And obviously it's all encompassing, which great for Blumhouse. I mean, what an awesome deal to land. That's epic. And hopefully it just bodes well for us in terms of content. Now, the film, which Whannell wrote and directed, starred Logan Marshall Green, Tom Hardy Light, Betty Gabriel and Harrison Gilbertson. In it, after his wife is killed during a brutal mugging that also leaves him paralysed, Grey Trace is approached by a billionaire inventor with an experimental cure in the form of a computer chip implant called STEM. The implant provides its host with heightened physical abilities, allowing Grey to exact revenge on those responsible for his wife's death. You know what? When I'm reading this, I get shades of Limitless, Hopefully, they'll get Logan Marshall Green involved in some way, maybe like a cameo. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean, though? Like, it does give some kind of shade of Limitless, the TV series, where it's basically the similar concept, isn't it? There's a drug, it expands yourself. We've seen the movie version. Now we're gonna go and see someone else doing it, and then hey, look, we're doing the same thing with STEM. Hopefully, though, this is better, and we start to talk about, some kind of, I guess, it was just an interesting slant on it, especially if you're looking to control criminals. There's there's a very good and a very interesting, wide, diverse commentary you could go down with that, basically. And I hope they're not afraid to really explore it, because I think that there's a lot you could do with it. So anyway, thought I'd bring you this news. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. Shame we're not getting a movie, but hey, series could be equally as good and maybe could lead to another movie. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts though down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. Thank you so much. Take care.